cause I'm that style. Really should've always seen that I had style. How can I trust you when I'm so far? You just wanna fuck me cause I'm that style. Yeah, I'm so that style. Goddamn, I'm so that style. Yeah, I'm so that style. I'm looking like a dad, but don't have.
Hey, right now. Start it. Is it started?
You good?
Welcome back to the Games and Games Choking on coffee. It's in my pipeways.
I'm Big T, otherwise known as Josh, not the other way around. Welcome back to our second episode of the podcast. Today we're talking about some of the stuff that we do sometimes when the camera's not rolling.
Alright, so today we're talking about, we got a new segment where it's fucked. It's already fucked.
It's already fucked. Should we have came up with a name for this before we fucking got into the podcast? Had a name for the segment?
Nah.
Something catchy that the kids would like?
No, dude.
Yeah.
All 10 kids. It doesn't matter about that.
All right. So last night we're spending all day trying to brainstorm the ideas for this podcast, and we had the idea of each other playing a game that one of us picks out for the other. And we'll play an hour of it, then give our impressions of it on the podcast. I played Dark Souls, and then after that, he played the Resident Evil 2 remaster. We're going to be sharing our thoughts on that, as well as some other things that we've been doing. So you're probably wondering what was going on in the intro that you saw. We decided to shoot a video because he was going to practice some editing. We had the idea of just throwing a couple of clips together of him, riding the lawnmower. And somehow that turned into a whole music video. And that was pretty fun. So he'll be sharing some of his thoughts on the editing process behind that. I'll also be linking that video down below so you can check that out.
Alright, so to start off, do you want to go in? I want to get your thoughts on Dark Souls 1, because Dark Souls, as you know, pretty popular game, and you haven't played it at all. Have you watched any before you played? Or at least a considerable amount?
Not even. I maybe seen 30 seconds of gameplay, and maybe I've saw some gameplay when I've been over here. Otherwise, I went into this game pretty much completely blind, and it makes sense as to why it's considered a notoriously hard game.
Okay, so for everybody who knows, Josh, in an hour, made it out of the asylum and made it to Firelink Shrine, and that's pretty much where he made it.
Yeah.
Because he started fighting the one NPC who gives you the vague quest of going and ringing 2 bells. And eventually you ended up killing him because, well, he killed you, but then he decided to roll off a cliff. So we finally got rid of that problem. And then you ended up killing
the next NPC.
The next NPC.
Yeah, I got this habit of when I get into a game, I spend a lot of hours doing a lot of nothing. I do things that you probably shouldn't do in the game. So like in Breath of the Wild, I'm probably nowhere near completion, but I have 40 hours in it. Just because I screw around. So you get through the tutorial level in Dark Souls, which already took me a long time to begin with, because I'm kind of an idiot. I have a terrible sense of direction, and this game does a really good job of not explaining a lot to you.
Yeah.
So that didn't help, but when we finally started to get into the main area of the game, the NPCs you talk to, that you would usually have no intention of harming because they're one of the fucking 10 people that won't do anything bad to you in the game. I just attacked them. Made a whole fight out of that, and that's pretty much my progression with Dark Souls, and it was a really good time.
That being said, that dude is a bit of an asshole, so I can understand why you want to kill him. He's he seems really self-fucking, fuck, I hate that guy.
Exactly.
So I get it, I understand wanting to kill him.
He had to go. I did not want him in my game any longer. I didn't want any chance of him coming back throughout my story. It would just ruin my day.
I'm pretty sure that guy, spoilers, dies automatically if you just leave him alone.
Really?
Yeah. So
you would never see him again regardless.
You would see him again, but eventually he just fucking dies.
Oh no, he ain't coming back now. He's gone.
Yeah. He dropped right off a cliff. So I think Dark Souls is a good game to have somebody there to tell you pretty much what the fuck you're doing. Because otherwise you're going to have to figure it out yourself, and the game is so bad at tutorializing this shit.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the point, but I don't think it is, because there's the little things on the ground that are supposed to be tutorials So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It almost feels like an older generation. Like, when did Dark Souls come out?
It's been a minute. I'll check it.
Okay, so it feels like an older game in the sense that it doesn't explain a whole lot to you, and that definitely contributes to why it's hard.
Still got Dark Souls fighting the first NPC pulled up on my phone because I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do because he just attacks you out of Firelink Shrine.
I feel like it would assist in the game not being as hard if they just explained to you more in the beginning. You figure out literally pretty much everything as you go. Like, when you basically first start the game, they throw you into a boss battle. And the way you get around it apparently took you a while.
Yeah, I fought him like maybe 10 times. I'm very not observant.
I had the idea of like, oh, maybe I could find another weapon somewhere in this little area, this little arena. And that's the only reason I got out of that fight. Otherwise, you probably would have been spending like an hour trying to fight this one boss.
Yeah.
Just because the game tells you nothing.
Doesn't tell you well, to be fair, it does say on the ground in that arena, like run away or something like that. Yeah.
But that didn't, like, that, in my head, that was just like part of the world building.
Exactly, like flavor, like, watch out, this dude's scary.
Yeah. Like, I would
jack off.
I didn't take that as a tip whatsoever.
Yeah, neither did I, clearly. Yeah. Also, it doesn't explain and you can kind of pick up some of it on your own, but it doesn't explain the fact that stamina is so important. And also, like, everything takes it. Your attacks take it. Your blocking with your shield takes it. And your rolling takes it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't explain any of that. So.
And we were watching each other play through our hour progression in these games. What do you think I could have done differently to make my experience a lot better?
I mean, honestly, I think there's a lot of people who'd argue that you need to go in absolutely blind because it's like, that's how you figure it out. And there's some cool things that you didn't catch, but because you wouldn't have caught it in the time that you played. Like, the fact that the more armor you wear, there's like 3 different stages of weight. So you start rolling slower and slower. So you can wear heavier, better armor, except now you're worse at dodging.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that. And it doesn't explain any of the stats or poise. If anybody knows what the fuck poise is, it's like the most important stat in the game, and it tells you nothing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just says, like, poise.
A funny thing I just thought of is when I was near death and one of the times I was fighting the NPC, it told me I was bleeding out. But before that, there was like this bar that would pop up like I was getting poisoned or something.
Yep.
But it doesn't explain that.
It very much just wants you to go into the world and figure it out yourself. But I don't know if that's... I don't know how many people would really be into Dark Souls if they didn't have somebody there being like, alright, it's confusing, look up a YouTube video first, then go in. Because the first time I started it, I was pretty determined to beat all 3 of them. I started it and I restarted 2 times because it's nonsense. I didn't know what I was upgrading. Like, yeah, strength is probably good. I don't know what it fucking does. Dexterity sounds important.
It's basically 10 out of 10 game.
10 out of 10.
No flaws.
Would fight the first NPC again.
So you played Resident Evil 2.
That is true.
Do you want to go into your experience with that?
Yeah. So, Resident Evil 2... I've never played the originals for people wondering. It's... At least the re-release is... It's pretty. Admittedly, I have a strong PC, but the released game is... Or the re-release game is pretty.
Like, even playing it on the PS4, because I have that version as well, it's just a good-looking game. It's probably one of the best-looking games in this past decade. The Resident Evil engine, which is what they call it, is incredible.
Yeah, as you said, they were flexing on us with some of the gory shots.
Yeah, like one of the scenes where, one of the early scenes where you like pull the guy's head up and it's like falling apart. Yeah, that was just a straight flex.
Yeah, so I enjoyed my time with it. So in the little time that I had, I did get some tips as to not shoot literally everything because this game is not a game where you get infinite bullets. So you kind of got to conserve it.
Yeah, I don't know if you had any Resident Evil experience before this.
I've played a bit of like some of the later ones. Like,
okay.
I just have like vague memories of going through like a mine shaft or something, shooting zombies.
Yeah.
So
So you're around like the 4, 5, 6.
Okay,
maybe.
is that what that is?
Yeah, like Resident Evil 4 was when they started making it a little more action oriented.
Yeah, it was definitely more of an action game.
Yeah, because like back on the original PlayStation titles, there was like no emphasis on action whatsoever. It was all about survival, especially depending on your difficulty. Like you went in on the normal difficulty. I tried to start Resident Evil 2 out on the hardest difficulty, which I don't recommend because it's a miserable time. Because I wanted the most accurate experience comparatively to the original games, and it just was not a good time. Because in the normal difficulty, you don't have ink ribbons. You don't have to find those to save your game. And what'll happen is if you try to do that on the hardest difficulty while you're still learning everything, it kind of just makes it really frustrating.
Something I'd like to do is I'd kind of like to go in and retry, except on the hardest difficulty, to see what you're talking about, see how much.
I don't think that's a bad idea. Maybe we'll give that a shot.
Because what I played, it wasn't that difficult. It was spooky. Yeah. I'll give it that. It was pretty spooky. But after you told me to conserve my ammo, you can pretty much just lead zombies into a big room and then walk around them because they're the walking type as opposed to the kind that'll chase you down. Which is funny because in the recent one they released, the third one, apparently it's a lot easier. It's a lot more streamlined. I've watched multiple reviews, like Dreamcast guy, and he's mentioned that you can breeze through it on normal difficulty, at least compared to like the previous game. Yeah. So he recommends maybe actually starting it out on the harder difficulty. As to where in the second one, I personally don't recommend starting it out on that. It's kind of it's almost like The Last of Us in some ways. Like if you played The Last of Us on easy, which I did with my girlfriend to play through it for like the third time, it's a good time regardless of the difficulty you played on. There's still a little bit of a challenge, but it just throws health items at you left and right. And I guess I think Resident Evil gives you a lot more bullets and health when you play on the lower difficulties, and that's the big difference. Yeah, what I think is so funny about it is it's still a very video gamey world. And you said it's because the police station was an old museum. Yeah. Which is kind of a funny way to explain it out. Oh yeah, definitely. There's fucking 3 medallions you have to find by going to statues of unicorns and dogs and the reason it's like that is because that's just how I guess that's the 90s court gameplay that they just came up with back then. It's basically just a recreation of the original games, and that's exactly how the original games are. It's these stupid puzzles where you're just I could just open this door by kicking it in. And all the zombies that chase you bust down any door, and they're stupid. So, and then the original a police officer can't kick down a door. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's in the original games you had the loading limitation, so every time you would go into one of those rooms, it would. I don't know. Have you seen any gameplay of the older games by chance? I've only seen the part where the dogs bust through the window, which is why I was so scared of that. Every room is a fixed camera, and every time you open a door to go into another area, it basically stops and loads in that new area. So nothing would come in from the previous doors. Besides in the original Resident Evil 3, I think Nemesis will bust down the doors regardless. Now in the remakes, the zombies can just bust right in, and that's the one thing that'll surprise you if you were an older fan of the games getting into it. Did the old games even have a crosshair or a reticle? Because I think I remember seeing footage of a zombie coming towards say down a hallway, and the character's just vaguely pointing in its direction, vaguely aiming. Yeah, and that's why it's so bad, is trying to aim it. That and the controls. The controls just don't age well whatsoever. The hardest thing about that game is the controls. But I mean, in a horror game, that's probably one of the times where I'd say it's acceptable to have kind of shitty controls. That's what, if only to add to the tension. That's kind of what adds to the tension. That's also why I was mentioning, we talked about this earlier, when you were playing, I recommended maybe playing with the controller, because if you play with a keyboard and mouse and a 144 hertz monitor, it's a lot easier to aim at the zombies. It's still easier to aim at the zombies. For what it's worth, it was still a pretty easy time. Next time I'll use the Guitar Hero guitar, because I'm pretty sure that would make it pretty intense.
Oh yeah, that would give you the most optimal experience. I think I could say, like, on the PS4 version, it's quite a bit more tense because it's not as easy. Plus, the game aims for 60 FPS on consoles, and sometimes it doesn't even hit that in certain sequences. And you were just probably at a rock solid 144 the whole time.
Yeah, and I turned it up a considerable amount as well.
Yeah, it's a very well optimized game. That's the thing. It's such a good looking game, and it runs incredibly well.
Yeah, a few things that I liked about it. I liked specifically there was a dude hanging. Like, I think he was hanging upside. Oh no, he was hanging from a pipe, and I'm like, I ain't scared of this fucking game. So I went and I was like, I'm just gonna put my face on this dude's legs. And then when I did, he dropped down and then scared the shit out of me, which is hilarious. I love that they're like, all right, you want to be brave? I'll fucking scare you.
And then the ragdoll kind of started glitching out.
Yeah, he started like air thrusting, which was kind of cool. That's the best part of the game by far. Fuck the resource management. Fucking that.
We gotta get some of you playing. We gotta like record us doing this and make a video out of it sometime because it was great.
Yeah, I mean, in a game like that, all you can do is talk to try and like calm yourself down because every time you enter a fucking dark hallway, you're just like, oh no, not again.
Role playing is the key to getting through that game and calming yourself down.
FBI.
Every time you busted down a door, it was just like FBI.
Yeah.
Oh, I just destroyed that mic. I'm so sorry. I tried to back away a little bit. It didn't work.
Put a warning there.
Yeah.
FBI, open up.
Yeah, that would have been a little more realistic.
Yeah.
I really like the just the little attention to details in the game. How you can shoot out their knees, or you can shoot them in the head, and it'll make them stumble back. There's just these little. I guess you'd call it mechanics. It's kind of like Dark Souls. Like, you just got to learn how to time certain things.
Yeah, that's one thing, shooting back to Dark Souls real quick, it seemed like you started picking it up a little bit more because in the beginning, admittedly, it was because you don't know the fucking controls.
Felt so jank.
Yeah, I think that's intentional. Like, you're fighting, right? Yeah. And you just go and sip a potion in the middle of comp, and then he's just like, well, I'm just going to stab this dude. But eventually, like, you start to pick up, subconsciously or not, that you, like, the way that you control is the way that every other enemy controls as well.
Yeah.
So, you know how, every time you've clicked a button, it's like, all right, you're doing that move now.
Yeah.
Like, you're set in stone. That animation is finishing all the way through.
Yeah, like, I noticed how, like, when I was fighting the first NPC, like, I could roll forward and backwards and block, and he would do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of learning.
Like, but once, like, if they commit to a move, they're now stuck in it. So if you just walk, or, like, to the side of them, then you can just get in easy hits on them. Something like that. A big part of Dark Souls is just holding your shield up and then walking around somebody to try and get to their back while they're trying to attack you.
Yeah.
Because they're stupid. Yeah. Once you realize that they have the same limitation as you do, you were rolling a lot.
Yeah.
Which is something that if you continue to play, you'd stop rolling so much.
And I was also kind of doing it for the meme. You just roll upstairs. I remember seeing this video of this dude cosplaying Dark Souls. And he was just rolling around there's this one person that was dressed up, obviously cosplay. He was just consistently rolling in a circle around him. And I was just kind of trying to emulate that in my head.
I'm sure that's going to be the new, or probably already has been the new Deadpool.
Yeah.
Everybody walking around as Deadpool, like, oh, this guy's funny.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of people at a convention just rolling around.
Yeah. Dark Souls is great. It's definitely a huge learning curve going into it, especially when you haven't played much like it. And I remember in Breath of the Wild, I'd get my ass kicked a lot of the same ways because you just jump into a fight and you don't know what to do.
Yeah, I've heard the Dark Souls games, in comparison to a game like, I think, Neo, because we were watching a video on that yesterday, is more like you got to go into the fight like already being ready. Whereas in Neo, it's more based on the actual combat, where it's like you go in there and you mix it up.
Yeah, it's like in the earlier segments when you start running around these corners. Like when I got fucking smacked by the boulder on the upstairs, or when I went around the corner and started getting shot by the guy with the arrows. Like you kind of got to learn to anticipate stuff.
Yeah, the game will try. By the end of Dark Souls, you will never enter a room without like trying to pan the camera in there, or like go in, go out, wait a few seconds, or like run in and then look directly behind you, because the game ambushes you constantly.
The game will make you paranoid.
Yeah.
You'll go to sleep at night thinking about it.
But there are also some cheap deaths that, like, there's nothing you can do to get past it. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the dragon one, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Some people defend the dragon thing. There's no way. Nobody has ever survived that unless they've heard about it or seen it.
Yeah.
No one. Because they're, you can pick it up because there's char marks on the bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean? That there was a fire there once?
Yeah.
Does that mean that there's going to be another fire? Okay, so what if you conclude that the dragon's coming, right? Does that mean that it's coming from this side or this side? Where do I go? Yeah. Joseph Anderson talks about this. Fucking rap dude. But
the game will make you feel like an idiot. For sure.
Yeah, but that's what I don't respect about it, is cheap deaths like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you got a lot of genuine things to learn.
Yeah.
And I don't want those ending up like, oh, should I have seen that coming? Yeah. No, you shouldn't have.
Yeah. In some cases, it's just going to do something random.
Yeah. The boulder is understandable because it's the first time the game throws something like that at you.
Yeah.
But
that was funny.
Yeah. You don't fall for those kind of tricks that much afterwards.
Okay, I was just imagining, like, if this is the entire game, the game just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, you'll start like looking at everywhere you're going. You're like, I'm not falling for this, dude.
Yeah.
Especially in places like Fenn's Fortress, which is just like it's a very video gamey fortress with traps everywhere.
Yeah.
As if like this is a place that you would like. There's a little bridge in saw blades swinging back and forth, like the most video gamey thing. Like it makes no sense probably in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about Resident Evil. I'm wondering, do you have any more thoughts about perhaps how you saw a new person, a newcomer to the series playing?
You were breezing through it for the most part. Like I probably had a worse time in those beginning segments, like when you first go under the gate and you get the book and you have to backtrack back to the main lobby.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really easy. It was easy for me to get caught off guard and kind of get lost. But you did a good job of just kind of weaving in and out. And then you kind of like, I guess the menus and everything are really intuitive because it was really easy for you to just pop in there, see what the symbols were, and
I'll give
figure
that.
the puzzle
It
out.
is pretty easy and all your notes are saved.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. You have your inventory, your map, and your notes, and you have nothing. It seems like no clutter, no extra nonsense in there. So
there's a lot of just
the opposite of Dark Souls.
Yeah. It's like if Dark Souls just did little things like that to make your experience smoother, I think it wouldn't turn people off.
Yeah.
I would say if I was playing that for the first time completely blind, those would probably be some things that would just make me say, "What? Why the fuck?"
Yeah. It's unapologetically not welcoming.
Yeah, I would say in Resident Evil, if you had started out on that harder difficulty, probably would have had a harder time for sure.
Yeah,
because you were saving constantly.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to do that on the harder difficulty. You would maybe find 1 or 2 ink ribbons, and you would have to strategically plan out. Okay, when am I going to carry this? When am I going to save?
Funnily enough, I think that's a really cool mechanic, and I kind of wish there was an option to do that. Yeah. Like, make that a secondary option.
Yeah.
So, on normal mode, I could turn it on, because that's really cool.
Yeah, because the thing for me is, I wanted to have the ink ribbons, but the only way to get the ink ribbon mechanic, basically, is to play on the harder difficulty.
Yeah. Man. That's tragic. Yeah, I love cool, save state stuff like that.
Yeah, it'll really change the experience.
I think the other Dead Space game had something like that.
Yeah.
Where on their hardcore mode, you could save 3 times throughout it or something.
I haven't played through any of the Dead Space games.
I haven't either. I just heard about this mechanic, and I'm like,
I've just
it's
heard
the
they're
coolest shit
really good.
Yeah. You can save 3 times. I think it's the hardest difficulty, and you can only save 3 times throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
So it's like, you better, when you do it, you better mean it.
Yeah. Like, that was I don't know. I was going to say that was a product of its time, but yeah, just something as simple as a save can really change the gameplay experience.
Yeah, that's... God, I love messing with, like, base mechanics like that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't talk about it when I talked about Ori last time. The second one doesn't do it. It gives up on it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying. But the first one has... You can spend your energy to create a save point at that moment right there. Whenever you die, you'll respawn in that spot. And I think that's super cool. And it's kind of disappointing that they left it.
Yeah.
Must be a girl, 'cause I'm always in it. I had him running like a track meet, passing around.
You guys are smart.
Like a fucking...
Yeah.
Welcome back to the second part of the podcast. But you already knew that.
They weren't supposed to know that we made a second recording.
The camera overheats and we have to do it in parts. Everything's on the table, baby. Yeah, I know. Now that this is out, we're not going to get even 50 views. We're going to get like negative 50 views, dude.
We're going to get like 15 views.
Oh, so...
But your views are doing fine.
Yeah. Is that the next topic then?
Yeah, I think that was really smooth the way I just pulled that segue in there. We made the video of you riding the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about the thought process behind that. Like, how did the day start?
All right.
From me coming over to work out to
So,
us pre-planning that.
Here's what happened. Pretty much we were like, we have free time and we're not doing anything and we're lazy pieces of shit. And I think our viewers can relate to that. You ever felt like a lazy piece of shit?
Yeah, him more so than me.
Yeah, more so than me. And we're not doing anything. So it's like, all right, let's fucking do something. And then I brought up a video game from my past, Core Q.
Yeah.
And you wanted to steal the idea of Core Q, which I'm getting on camera right now. And in response, you were like, nah, dude, it's not stealing. You'll never make a video. So I was like, all right, let's go make my first video now.
Yeah.
To prove that wrong.
Because you've talked about doing videos all the time. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, I want to make a video. But
I do.
I'm just not getting... Like, I've heard so many people say this. That I've heard, like, so many people, like, just around me say, yeah, I'd like to start a YouTube channel sometime, maybe.
Yeah. But
the fact of the matter is you just got to do it.
And we did.
Yeah, and we fucking did it, dude. So we were making the joke about mowing the lawn. And I was just like, well, okay, I can get a couple of clips of you doing that. And he was like, yeah, I could just dress up like a dad, like a stereotypical dad mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Mowing the lawn video.
Yeah. And it was just very base level. Like, okay, we're just gonna shoot him climbing in, riding it, and I was just gonna show him how to splice the clips together, maybe do a couple of effects with it, and it just turned into this whole, do this, and now it's a music video.
Yeah, like, as we were going, everything just started falling into place.
Yeah, like, the song we used never came to mind at all until after everything was recorded.
It was never meant to be a music video. It was supposed to be, like, just
a practice.
Just clips, and then, like, I would try and turn it into something focusing on dad energy. Yeah. Hence the name Big Dad Energy.
Like, I didn't think we would make, like, a final product. I thought it would just be there to serve the purpose of cutting the clips together.
Yeah.
But then it turned into the whole thing that it did.
Yeah, so you taught me how to splice shit together, and easy enough. Yeah. The harder part is definitely the speeding up and slowing down and all that nonsense, which you did most of that.
Yeah.
But like, even before we turned it into what it is now, once I cut all the clips into the first cut, just, these are the clips that we're going to use, no editing.
Yeah.
And then we put the track over it. It worked perfectly. Yeah. That video could have been released and would have been, like, still not as good, but it would have been a banger. Because it ended perfectly. The smirk on me pulling out, it It worked fantastically.
It was just a testament to how good the clips turned out, and the funny thing about that is we basically did that all in one take over the course of an hour.
Yeah. Again, no direction going in.
Yeah.
The sun was going down, so we were like, all right, let's bang these out.
We were rushing through it and making it up as we were going along.
Yeah, we only have one shot. We couldn't miss this chance to blow. But we
gotta have at least one Eminem reference in every podcast.
Just that one though. It's just that one over and over. Stay tuned next time for the next yeah. And then we just like think of more things like, oh, hold on a second, maybe you should go across the street. And I stop the lawnmower and I wave at you. And then you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get on the motorcycle together and ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, there was some clips that didn't make it in, like me instructing him to back up towards me.
Yeah.
And like there were some overhead shots we originally weren't going to use. But we basically... The video was originally like twice as long with the clips alone, and we just tried to fit it all into that one song.
But we did, cutting out the backing up was probably a good idea, now that looking back.
Yeah.
And while I do love you waving up for like...
Yeah.
Backing it up for like 10 minutes straight or whatever.
We'll just make a 10-minute video of me backing
me up, yeah. Dude, I don't go anywhere. It's the same clip of me backing up each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be... No, we gotta start like at the church.
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah. So that's the next video idea. Yeah. I'm going to link the video we did down in the description. Be sure to check that out and maybe subscribe so you can stick around on his channel.
Yeah.
To check out the backing up video.
New videos every year. Dude, next year's video is on Core Q and it's gonna bang.
Oh, dude, I think you got a good foundation now. Yeah. You know the basics of editing.
And not everything's gonna be as tough as that.
Yeah. Yeah, like before that video, you had 4 subscribers. Now you have 10 subscribers.
I doubled my subscriber count in a day. Ooh, put that as the thumbnail or the title.
Yeah,
how doubled his subscribers.
Watch till the end.
Watch till the end.
Hour-long video.
You won't believe what happens. But yeah, so we started with nothing and ended up with a banging video. Yeah.
That was pretty solid. And I'm proud of what we accomplished.
I am too. We were up until like 4 o'clock.
We spent way too much time on that.
Yeah.
Like altogether, what was it? Like 5 to 7 hours from start of recording to end of editing.
Yeah. So in all, it was just like one work day.
Yeah.
Put into, I'd say worth, because normally like you're putting like a decent amount of hours into your videos. That one. It was everything on the spot.
Yeah.
Even the editing was on the spot. We didn't even know the track we were going to use. We throw it in. It works. We're like, all right, let's make it even better.
That's just the most impressive thing about the entire video to me.
Yeah.
It's just how we threw it all together and it worked for what it is.
Planning is unnecessary is what I've learned.
Basically, in conclusion, you don't got to plan videos.
Don't plan, not just videos. Don't plan anything in your life. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, it'll all work out.
Yeah, it's got that video. And the green screen, I don't know how much we could spend on this topic.
Yeah, you were talking about basically getting a big-ass green screen with the lights.
So here's the thing. I was, with the editing, I was like, I'm looking at other people's videos who I want to essentially just rip off.
Yeah.
Because that's how every person who does any form of art starts anything, is they're like, oh, I like that person's thing. I'm going to keep doing their thing until I find out my thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to, like, well, everybody who I want to rip off has a fucking green screen.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'll see how to edit. And if I don't hate it, or if it's, easy enough, then I'll do it.
Yeah. So in conclusion, what are you thinking about doing videos?
As a whole?
Yeah,
I think it's lit. I love the idea of getting... Yeah, you like that? I love the idea of getting your thoughts on something kind of set in stone.
Yeah.
And that you can also mess with it in post to to flavor it up past just talking to a camera.
So can you see yourself doing videos?
I can, specifically the one on Cork. You don't steal my idea.
If you don't do it, I'm taking that idea.
No, I'm definitely doing the Corky video, and it's gonna be lit. Stay tuned for a video game you've never played.
Yeah. So we're like catching up on all the lits. Like you got a lot for your money in the last podcast, but
yeah, got a lot of lits in the last podcast.
But this is
and a lot of fuckins.
Yeah, a lot of fuckins. This is for the 30-minute listeners.
Yeah, this is for everybody who listened to my drunken tirade, who wants a little bit more of that nonsense I was spitting.
Yeah, we were originally going to do the podcast drinking a natty light to like follow up with the theme of the last video, but it was just too late. Yeah. That's why we're doing the morning cast here, which isn't even really morning, but
yeah, it's morning to me because I'm not at work.
Yeah, I got up around 10.
Yeah.
30. You got up around 12.
Yeah, I was lying and I woke up, I think, at 11-ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm really tired. I'm like, I don't know if Josh is up or not.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't sure if we were really going to get this podcast in.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to sleep for an extra hour.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I gotta get it. There'd be nothing to talk about because I wouldn't be able to say anything if I was that tired.
No, I was tired still, like, drinking through the coffee. I'm only now sitting here with energy for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of coming as we were turning the camera on.
I'm excited to start videos. Yeah. We got one more topic, I guess.
Yeah. I legitimately want to see you start videos.
Yeah. I'm legitimately excited. Yeah.
If not, we'll just delete your channel and we'll put you into mine, and you'll basically just kind of be like a slave worker for me.
If there's no video within, I'd say like 2 months, then it's over. Yeah. I've quit and I'll delete my channel.
Okay, so if there's no video on his channel within 2 months, flag his first video.
Flag my first video for inappropriate content, and I'll delete it before you can even do it, so don't worry.
There's no trace. Delete the video, delete the channel.
I'm gone.
Yeah, this podcast never happened, even though it did.
Yeah. I feel weird that because we've got a topic list about what we've been playing aside from the games that we made each other play. I feel like you should have... have you played anything since the last time? Anything new, maybe, or just more Animal Crossing?
Dude, I don't know. Like, I restarted Need for Speed Heat, and I don't really have anything to legitimately add into that conversation. Played some more Animal Crossing. I've been kind of busy.
Oh, happy Bunny Day to everybody listening.
Yeah, we're dating the podcast a little bit. You're probably not hearing it today, but today is Bunny Day in Animal Crossing. We already lost the cherry blossom tree, so at this point I lost any interest in the game.
Yeah, it's over. I'll probably pick it up sometime next year, but...
Sometime next year.
Now that the cherry blossoms are gone.
Yeah, you can just pick it up every season.
Yeah, the
game will work for that.
I'll keep resetting my days back just to stay in cherry blossom forever.
Yeah.
Because the game's too pretty.
Can you even do that?
Yeah.
Because I know, like, they update the game. Here's what I was wondering. They're updating the game with the Bunny Day thing. Like, for those people who haven't even updated their game at all since they got it, they won't have that. Like, they could have just missed this entire event.
Oh, so you're saying they'll get another update soon so you can't stay in Bunny Day forever because they like hot fix it, essentially?
I'm wondering if they're going to hot fix it to where it removes it after today, or if like they're just adding the seasons as they go. So like if you're playing the game next year, maybe it'll have that same event again. Okay.
Well, you heard it here. If you want Bunny Day, turn off your internet connection.
Yeah.
Play it offline.
Yeah, no, I was listening to Back to the Futon, and he mentioned how his game wasn't even updated to have the Bunny Day event, so he completely missed it. That's how I know about this.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Not being a thing. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to skip this one at this point, because apparently a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Fuck Eggs podcast.
Yeah, the eggs are a trash gimmick podcast, and I wish they would stop taking up my fish. This doesn't make any sense to people who haven't played Animal Crossing.
Can you wait till the Halloween event where they replace all of the fish with pumpkins?
Oh, dude, you know it's just going to be the same event over again. with new things.
Yep. Instead of the bunny, we'll get the pumpkin boy.
Yeah. Christmas is going to be like little ornaments.
Yeah, we're predicting. This is Animal Crossing Predictions podcast.
Yeah. I mean, look, I hope to be proven wrong, but...
Yeah, I hope that they actually improve the events. I mean, having presents on the trees would be cool.
Yeah.
But let it have some more significance than it does. Because like you said, it felt like they were just taken away.
Yeah, bunny... Here's the thing. If it's to if I'm getting something taken from me, I don't know if I'd necessarily want it. If you added it, like maybe there were eggs hidden in the world. Like the digging holes are fine because it seems like they just added more holes. You can still get your like 2 fossils a day plus all of these eggs. It wasn't taking anything from you. Whereas now it's taking up my fishing, and every time I hit a rock, I get an egg. Every time I chop trees, I get eggs.
Yeah.
This is
the
just
rock egg.
the egg hatred podcast. The game's still good.
Game's pretty lit.
Yeah. You know what? I take it back. It's bad.
Ugh.
It's a bad game.
Yep. I didn't play a whole lot. You played The Witcher. Or was it The Witcher 2?
Well, I've played them both.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we should be talking about people bigger than us, but who cares? Yeah. So Joseph Anderson, a YouTuber that I like.
The dude that does the 4-hour videos.
Yeah, he recently dropped a 4-hour video on the first Witcher. And he's been making these videos for a year or 2 now. So he puts time. He said on his video that he put over 5,000 hours into his 3 videos on the Witcher series.
Which is incredible when you watch our video and you can see how much good the video you can get out of like 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah. If you go watch Big Dad Energy, that's 7 hours.
That's 7 hours of effort.
And I think that turned out great.
Yeah.
This dude's putting in 5,000 hours.
5,000. I'll watch that at some point.
Yeah, I think just go to his channel and find a game that you already like.
Yeah.
So, like I said, The Last of Us he does.
Yeah.
But that's in conjunction with Uncharted 4.
So you said he basically covers everything. Do you think that's helped you out in your gameplay at all?
I like it because, there are small things, like in the God of War video he does, where you'll notice it, and then you're like, oh, I hope he brings it up. And he does, because he's put in more time than you could possibly imagine into these games for some reason.
Yeah. He's basically just reaffirming your opinion on how good the game is.
He's reaffirming your opinion, or sometimes he comes in with stuff that, I didn't pick up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I didn't even have that experience because I didn't play on all 3 difficulties.
Yeah.
So I can only come at it from one angle, whereas he's coming at it from every side.
Yep. So basically, he's letting you know if the game is either good or perfect.
Yeah. Or he just roasts them, that's a good time as well.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm doing the Witchers is because I thought I'd have enough time to complete the 3 games before he started dropping videos. Not the case. So I started picking up The Witcher 2. And for everybody who hasn't played it, The Witcher 1 is a bit hard to get into. But the second one, still kind of hard to get into. But now that I'm into it, I'm enjoying myself.
And then you get into 3, which is supposed to be the banger. Yeah. I played a few hours of 3 back and forth. And I think it's good from what I've played. I've been so ADD with games. It's one of those things. But I think since you've already played the first ones, you kind of have like this.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to 3. Yeah. Because that's the one. And I'm...
Like, me playing 3 is kind of just like me playing another game. You playing 3 is... You're playing more of the story you're really into at this point.
I came into it, I'm like, I can't play 3.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. Like, the game could be kind of mediocre, but you would still play it because you're interested in the story.
Dude, if you make it through 1, you're playing the other 2.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. If you play through 1. And 1 has a lot of good stuff in it. But, dude, if 1 doesn't have some walking... I literally downloaded a mod in the first one to make my character run, I think, at like 200 times speed or something like that. It was still too much walking with that mod.
I hate that stuff in games.
Not just too much walking, way too much walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start learning routes, but it's so much walking.
GTA 5, but with no cars.
Yeah, essentially. But it's a good game. I wouldn't recommend it.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. I don't think you could go from the third one to play the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be that much of a...
Yeah, I think it's too
rough.
Impenetrable to get into. Because it was tough for me for a while. Because the systems are so weird, and it's not an action game yet. Like, I know the second one and the third one are action games.
Yeah.
This one isn't. The fighting is a rhythm game. Yeah.
Really?
Genuinely. You just click, and every time you click the button, it's like you wait for a certain time, then your sword flashes, and you gotta click it again, and you
almost
keep
like
doing
a
that.
quick time event or something.
Yeah. And also, it's not even hitting either. It's like you're rolling dice. It's like D&D. You roll dice to see if that attack does damage. But you just gotta make sure that you've input it.
And for a lot of people, like, if the game isn't good right off the rip, they're not going to play it. They're not going to try to get into it.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool ideas, especially for back in the time when it was made.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the choices affecting you.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the points as to why people would play these games, even if they're hard to get into, kind of like Shenmue.
Kind of like Shenmue, a.k.a. the greatest game of our generation.
Yeah. Shenmue is basically like Animal Crossing if there was nothing in it to do. I'm so glad I could bring that up.
He told that joke off screen. I just want you to know.
He
wanted to say it so bad.
And I really didn't plan on bringing Shenmue up, but you just gave me the opportunity.
Yeah, I liked the Shenmue video.
And I have a physical copy of that. I'm going to lend you that, and you're going to play it.
Dude, I will choose the worst game if you make me play Shenmue.
Like in Animal Crossing, when you have to wait time, it's like real time, and you can turn the game off, go to bed. When you have to wait in Shenmue, you're just gonna spend an hour running around doing nothing.
I mean, I'll happily roast Shenmue.
Yeah.
I'll probably just give you good games to make you feel bad about giving me Shenmue.
Yeah. Like Shenmue it's a product of its time, and it's fascinating to go back into it and see what they were able to do with like giving every single person a schedule and a personality. And it's definitely fun to go into, but it's one of those games where it's like it's hard to enjoy if you hate like old game mechanics and stuff.
I'm gonna look up when Shenmue was released because that's a cool thing about
Shenmue. I think Shenmue was released in '99.
99?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was a launch title with the Dreamcast.
Oh wow, yeah, that's old then because Witcher also does people are on schedules. There's like a lot of heart in the game.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yeah, that's why people that like Shenmue praise it so much.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me to want to give the third game any attention because like back then, you can go back to the old games and it's really cool to look at, but when the new game suffers so much from the same things the older ones did and doesn't improve, it's
not
hard to enjoy.
Times.
It's not the same sense of magic you get from going to the other games.
Yeah, that's the thing. When something like that occurs, but it doesn't learn from the fact that it's now the future.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like an artifact.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like, look back and be like, wow, that was, at one point, really cool. And it is really cool thinking at that time, but now it's kind of outdated.
To the people watching this right now, don't clip this and send it to the Shenmue community, because we're going to piss off a lot of people.
I've never played Shenmue, so I hope it really pisses them off.
I made a video praising Shenmue for like 5-6 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I titled the game Shenmue is boring, like as a joke.
Yeah.
And that video got dislike bombed. Nobody even watched the fucking video.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I don't like that title.
Yeah.
Shenmue is life.
Yeah. That's another way to get views, by the way.
It's just...
Title a video shitting on something. It can be a really good video. It can be a really bad video. You're going to get views and dislikes.
And a bunch of dislikes if people... Yeah. Well, just hate on something that everybody hates on.
Yeah.
Global warming is bad.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but see, if you make a video like that, just agreeing and being basic,
yeah,
nobody's going to be interested in it.
No, but they'll come on by, they'll drop a like, and then they'll leave. I don't like murder. You know what? This guy's got a point.
They just titled the video, Murder is Bad. It's a 20-second video of you singing about how murder is bad.
It's just a 20-second video of nothing.
Just text on the screen, murder is bad.
PowerPoint. This is my PowerPoint presentation about why murder is bad. First slide, you kill somebody. I don't really think that's too nice. Imagine if you were killed. All the millennials will be like, you know what, hold on a second. Imagine if I was killed. Sounds pretty good.
Imagine if I was killed.
Millennial humor, I want to die.
It's pretty edgy.
Yeah. You want to call it?
Yeah.
The sippity whippity dip.
Yeah, what's the number?
The number? As in the time? You motherfucker.
I thought it was...
You know when your friends ask you, hey, what's the number? And what they meant is the time. Oh, you don't?
No,
yeah, it's because people don't do that.
No, you didn't. You said, should I call it? Do you want to call it? So I picked up the phone to call
it was just the best joke I've ever heard is what I missed.
Yeah, you didn't have like the strong IQ. It's like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I didn't watch the newest season. That'll be why.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll call it here. Thank you guys again for joining us on the second episode for some reason.
Yeah, if you made it to this part.
I think we've definitely upped our game from the first one. And there'll be some more.
Yeah. Oh, also, if you have any suggestions for the podcast, leave them in the comments section.
Yeah.
Maybe some questions you'd like to ask us.
Yeah, quite literally, we'll take anything we can get.
We'll do anything, man. Just please give us ideas.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
All right.
And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for joining me. Later.
Love you.
I also love you.
God, I hate our fucking fans.